right, guys, so I am coming at you with two really easy ways for you to transform how your basics are performed and really just a way to elevate your power and speed. So let's just jump right in. Number one, probably the best way to really change your basics and increase your power and speed is your elbow rotations and your wrist rotations. So a lot of us are used to the idea of rotating our hips in an effort to put our body behind our strike. But one of the things that a lot of us fail to incorporate, especially in our beginner ranks and even a little bit in our intermediate ranks, is our elbow rotation. So let's take our upward block for example. So I'm gonna hit my horse stance right here, and when I am doing my upward block, our basic is to just move this block into position like so. So I'm just raising my arm up into position here, okay? But what I really wanna do to add some power and add some speed is this elbow rotation here. So when I'm moving through my upward block, it's gonna look like an uppercut until the very last moment, boom, where that elbow snaps into position just like so. So when I'm moving, pop and pop and pop. Another thing along this same line is our wrist rotation. So if I'm looking at, say, a heel palm, right? Just normal, really basic heel palm. I'm pushing it. Everything about this heel palm is fine. It's just missing something. It is missing an elbow rotation and a wrist whip. So when I am doing my heel palm from my horse stance, just like so, I'm gonna make it look like a spear hand here and underneath, almost inverted spear hand, until I get super close, like I said, almost to where my fingertips are touching my target, and then I'm gonna snap that elbow into position, and I'm gonna snap my wrist into position. So when I'm doing it, okay, I wanna have this elbow snap and this wrist pop right into position, and those extra motions are gonna cause the muscles in my arm to tense naturally. It's not gonna be a forced tension like we do when we punch or anything else like that, or when we lift weights, and that is gonna allow my technique to be better. So that is just our upward block and our heel palm. What about our elbow strike? So when we elbow, okay, a lot of us will get into the habit of keeping our knuckles vertical, right? And that is bad for two reasons. Number one, we're missing a nice arm rotation. And number two, we're hitting with a soft part of our arm. If I go ahead and rotate my arm into position like so, or even here where I start with my knuckles vertical and my pinky up, boom, and then turn into position, that is gonna create just such a stronger strike. And you can do this with just about anything, even your punches. So when I punch, okay, I don't just want to take like, here's my normal vertical punches, right? But when we punch, we like to punch horizontally. And a lot of times we'll pop our elbows out too early and we'll miss that whip that we want. So I save that rotation in my arm for the last possible second. Again, just a way to increase our power through body mechanics. And we can do this all day when we're doing inside hand swords. So my hand will stay here, and then as I get to my target, my wrist will pop into position, and then my elbow, I can't even not do it now because I think about it so much. So that is the best and easiest way to incorporate body mechanics to make your hips stronger. The next thing that we need to do is we need to set our weight. I like to demonstrate my age here by mentioning that all martial artists are earthbenders. We get our power from our friction interaction with the ground. That is why our hip rotation is so important when we're doing our strikes. But we don't always have the ability to rotate our hip. I come from a Goju background, and their idea is adverse training on the beach where the sand is really, really soft and you kind of sink into it. It's really hard to get that push because the ground isn't solid. And so when they do hips, okay, they do hips more of this hip thrust motion that we see, but we can also get that same amount of power by settling and setting our weight. What this is gonna do is it's gonna increase our balance but it's also gonna make it so that because we're utilizing that weight set, we're making ourselves one with the ground, right? We're settling in, and that allows us for a stronger friction reaction here with the ground. And it's gonna make it a lot easier for us to translate our power into our opponent, not the other way. Make it easier for us to overcome their entropy, their inertia, which we have to do in order to have a successful hit. So how do I practice this? Well, in a horse stance, it's really, really easy. And you'll see, like, if you're watching really advanced practitioners, here's their horse stance, right? And this is their normal hold. But when they hit, they save a little for the point of contact. So you'll see them set their weight. When I'm doing it in my forward stance, or say I'm throwing a really good cross punch, okay? I always like to use the example of the 1-inch punch that Bruce Lee does. He is moving so much more than 1 inch. Yes, the distance that he is doing from his fingertips to his target, 1 inch, but Bruce is doing so much more than that, because there's the hip rotation, right? We can all see that in any of that old film, but he is also setting his weight, and he is turning his wrist. So he's doing the thing that we talked about just a few minutes ago, where he's cranking into position. So you're gonna see him settle, you're gonna see him turn, and you're gonna see him rotate. So the amount of movement that his body is making is probably closer to 18 inches if we were to measure everything exactly. And so what I want you guys to think about is set, set, set. Okay, you want to feel your head, like if you're watching yourself in the mirror, you want to see the elevation of your shoulders and your head change. Those two things together, wrist and elbow rotation coupled with a weight set, are going to absolutely change how your strikes land, and they are going to hit with so much more ferocity. All right, guys, until next time, train hard, fight fast, score first. Awesome.